cruise industry has a lot of experts. Good for them. We're not here to tell you what to think. We're here to tell you what we think. And trust me, that's dangerous enough. We're Kat and Matt. We work in the industry and cruise a lot. Somewhere between the cruise ships, Facebook groups, and endless online arguments, we realize everybody's talking. Nobody's listening. That's where Ship Happens comes in. We take cruise topics everybody's talking about, cruise line changes, industry drama, passenger meltdowns, loyalty programs, drink packages, gratuities, the stuff the cruise lines get right, and the stuff they get wrong. No script, no corporate talking points, no pretending every cruise line is perfect. Just conversation, strong opinions, sometimes a few drinks, and absolutely no guarantee we're going to agree with each other. Welcome to Ship Happens Raw. So we're talking about gratuities, and I'm going to just start it out. Are cruise gratuities a scam? So what are your thoughts?
If gratuities are mandatory, stop pretending that they're optional. Let me be clear. I fully support the cruise crew. They are a hardworking group of people. They deserve fair pay and respect, but don't call it what it is, something else.
Yeah, we've had this discussion lots before. You know how I feel. I don't think they're a scam. I do think it's part of a pricing strategy that you just can't get away from. I don't think that the cruise lines hide them. It's definitely not a hidden thing, but I definitely want to get into this conversation with you.
No, but it's how the compensation is presented to the guest. When something that's part of their wage feels optional or hidden, confusion and frustration for the guest. And that's what I want to talk about today.
Well, I think the difference between, being disclosed and not hidden, I think that's a big part of it. And it comes down to pricing strategy too. I think it's the cruise line's pricing strategy. And I think it would vastly change how cruise lines price their vacations if we didn't have it.
With that all being said, you want to tell people who you are?
Yeah, that would help. We started K&M Getaways because we love to cruise and we love to talk about cruising, and that's what we're doing today. We love filming cruising, we love going on cruises. We actually became travel agents so that we could cruise more.
And we also like to argue or disagree.
Disagree. Let's go with this. We're going to keep it YouTube friendly. But saying that, we started off. So tell me why you feel it's misleading.
So it's not the money. It's the framing. I got to quit looking at you across the room here.
I know.
When you book a cruise and see it's $6.99 a person, $4.99 a person, that's not the real cruise price. Disclosed and be transparent. That's not the same thing. There's 1,000 first timers that's lining up and saying they're surprised by something. That's a failure on the communication part of the cruise line, and it's about messaging.
Okay. So you don't think this is about people not getting the gratuities that they deserve?
Are you talking about like the gratuities for the crew, or or are you saying how guests need to understand how it works?
I think it's both, right? I think there's a definite, I definitely agree with you that there is some issues with transparency, but the realization is those crew are on guaranteed contracts, which means they get the same rate no matter who pays gratuities or not.
Right.
Okay. I think the misconception is in how most cruisers think those are being paid. I think the cruise line guarantees their wage. So no matter what you put, whether you tip in cash or whether you pay your daily gratuities, you're going to get the exact same amount on their paycheck. And I think that's where it's misleading. I don't think the cruise lines are using the daily gratuities to offset their costs.
Oh, I do. I think that It's not disclosed really in booking up front. It's in that fine print. And again, disclosed, yes. Transparent to the guest, it's not. And that's not the same thing. And clarity matters, not just about disclosure. And when you talk about, you said it does influence a little bit how guests need to understand how cruising works, then why does this conversation keep happening? If the system requires constant explanation, it's not user friendly. It's not guest friendly.
Which I completely agree. I do think there needs to be more transparency about it, but I also see it from the business side too. This is no different than the drink package or the Wi-Fi package or even excursion costs. Each one of them is a choice that each cruiser makes when they get on. You still have the option to remove.
Not all cruise lines any longer.
Correct.
And so that's the trick, right? So if gratuities were to disappear tomorrow and cruise fares were to quietly go up the exact same amount, I think guests would feel better, even though they're not paid the same. And the crew, I guess what I mean, the crew is going to get paid the same, right? Whether gratuities are early or not. So that tells you this isn't about cost. This is about perception. Bundled pricing increases perceived value. And so when you talk about modular pricing, that's about control. You're saying where you, the drink package and things of that nature. And the cruise lines are choosing that control.
Yes, I agree. The cruise lines do control this. But I've got to lean back again and say, if they were to remove the gratuities and call it something different, cost of living, we used to live in Seattle, cost of living wage fee, whatever it might be, the cruise lines aren't going to slowly creep up. There isn't a cruise line in the world that's going to wake up tomorrow and go, hey, I'm going to take less money to do the same thing.
That's the point. The cruise line is taking the money to offset the labor costs. The crew is still going to make their wage according to contract, right?
Correct.
My point is, again, about guest perception. We, as we're talking about from the American culture, tips and gratuities are what we think for good service. So this is about guest perception, not crew compensation.
Yeah, I fully agree. And that's exactly why not only do I leave those gratuities on, matter of fact, we've had conversations about going down to guest services and not removing them, and also going above and beyond, making sure we have the envelopes, making sure that on some of those drinks that some of those bartenders do get an extra gratuity on top of that. Because
when I get a good martini, I'm going to give them extra every single time.
No, when we get great service, that's where I want to really drive in the value, right? The change in pricing structure will only do one thing. It will increase the cost of a cruise and lower how many people are going on the cruise. I
don't think so.
Oh, absolutely.
I think they're still paying it. They're, at the end of the day, if you're an experienced cruiser, you know the gratuities is there. If you're opting not to choose it, you already know that's part of the cost. And again, that gets back into, it's kind of hidden, right? It's like you're slammed with this thing at the end. And when you're initially booking, working with people that are initially booking, they are committing to that headline price. Hey, $500, that's a great weekend. $200 some later, that's human behavior. That's not because our travelers and clients and ourselves are being ignorant or stupid. It is, that is a great deal. And then you start adding on and stacking. So if cruise lines truly believe guests prefer transparency, they'd advertise that total cruise price up front, not that starting price. And I guess there's different tiers, right? Like the interior cabin. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about, if you look at luxury lines, those are bundled. You know what you are getting right out the gate. We have a comment from Jennifer saying, do you think when you give cash, they have to split that amount, like tipping your bar back kind of thing?
don't know. That is, I hope not because I don't think the barback should be tipped. I hope that tip is going directly to them. I think if you're writing it on the check,
You get
like
split
we all get the checks when
the
you order
signatures.
from the bar. Do you think that that goes into a pool? If you're giving it in cash, I think that's different. I know a lot of cruise lines say that their teammates need to report those sales.
Just like here. But they might get underreported.
I would underreport it. Not trying, I know, but still. What I would say too, though, is you're not wrong. Okay. I agree the transparency isn't there. I agree that cruise lines aren't very open about what they do with them. But that's not going to change. Cruise prices aren't going down; they're going up.
Right.
And when we all book cruises, it is not based on. It is based on that first price. Okay, and if we were to take that $20 per person a day, which is the average standard rate that's
Yeah,
going
go across all the lines, take an average.
and add that into your cruise, it definitely would make a difference on how you book and how often you actually cruise.
But then if gratuities are optional, why does it feel like you're doing something wrong when you remove them? Okay. When someone removes gratuities, I don't think they're out to hurt the crew by any means. They don't like the system and they feel trapped. Like they're feeling forced. And it's their only lever pull is let's go stand in line with customer service and let's get that removed. That's not confusion. That's resistance. They're saying a big F you to the cruise line at the end of the day. I don't think they're trying to say our crew is bad because almost everybody I meet usually have positive things to say about most of their individuals. We've had bad service. I remember that one guy that didn't know how to make one of the shots I wanted, and then he got yelled at by a customer before us. So he wasn't going off script at all. He was just doing what was on the menu. But anyway, so it happened. Bad service happens. So I don't think it's a punitive thing. I think it is people saying, you say this is optional, you're forcing this on me, I'm going to go remove it, and I'm going to tip cash to those people who serve me.
Which to me is always, you still to this day go, how much are you putting in that envelope? How much are you doing? Like for me, it is literally being in the service industry for half of my life. I understand that these guys live and die by those tips, and it makes a difference that they live. I don't think. I think changing the word from daily gratuities is probably a better message to send to cruisers than it is anything else. Because those guys do work really hard.
Absolutely.
They do a great job going on cruises, right?
Right.
This is what we do.
And I'm not defending removing those gratuities. I'm saying it's about perception. I'm saying it's about reaction. And that tells us the system design is flawed. And it has nothing to do with the crew's overall value. And it's just getting into you forced into this morality question almost from an American culture. And I think that's where the change needs to happen. You go to some of these resorts, there's a resort fee. Call it a service fee. Call it what it is. Gratuities, if it's going to be a gratuity, that should be optional and something we choose to do as based on the service we receive, not a cruise line saying this is what you do, especially those that are making it mandatory. Then change it from gratuity and call it what it is.
I got to go back. Whether you're standing in line trying to remove them or you're changing the name of it, it's not going to hurt the cruise line by doing it.
Oh, no, it's not going to hurt them.
The cruise line, the labor cost still exists. It's still going to be there no matter what. The only difference being is knowing going in that this is a layered pricing system, and fully you're going to pay more as you get everything we have booked. We know fully that we go in prepared, knowing what we're going to pay for excursions, what we're going to pay if we're going to buy the drink package, if we're going to buy Wi-Fi, if we're going to do specialty dining. Those are all those layered costs in there, and I don't think the gratuities are anything different. I think as Americans, and yes, I'm going to include myself because I've been in America for now a few years. I think as Americans, our culture is so buy now, get the best deal you can. And that's the way cruise pricing is structured. Cruise pricing is structured no differently than anything else. Look at Black Friday. You remember being in Walmart, thousands of people jumping in lines to get the best deal, right? But that doesn't mean it's the only associated costs, especially with cruising. It's being prepared and going in knowing full well that, okay, this is part of that.
But I think you have to turn around and look at that and the expectation, because when a system depends on people not fully calculating the total, especially this is not small ticket items. This isn't, hey, I'm buying a crock pot for $5 today on Black Friday. Like, this is simplification, like the $500 cruise, and it's the cruise line optimizing their incomes. And I know they're a business, trust me, I get that. But then it also raised a thing is, how do they calculate that? Gratuities as a separate income line, and is there a tax consideration there? And instead of calling it a fee. I'm not a tax expert. I just have wondered that.
I wasn't prepared to go around the tax. If there's anybody in the audience that works for the IRS, maybe you could let us know. But
or even work like a tax firm or something.
Yeah, I'm going to back away from the tax loop, not because.
And I'm not saying that's what they're doing. I just wonder, like, what is it? Why are we still calling it gratuities? Because that's not considered an income revenue in most businesses. I don't know if it works for Carnival, but for restaurants, that gratuity line is not an income revenue stream for the business, and it is looked at differently. So maybe it's the same in cruising. I don't know, but I'll go away from taxes for you.
Okay. Go there, I'm going to say,
you got to Google something.
Cruise lines fly certain flags,
and possibly so. Could be.
And there's only one. Oh, I can't even do that. Where's my camera? One ship in the entire world that flies a U.S. flag. So yeah, and it does have to abide by different sets of laws, right? But what I will say is, I think it would be very different. Again, going back, I think pricing makes a huge difference on this. It's not.
Okay. If we look at that though, let's break it down by cruise lines, and I'm not trying to oversimplify this, right? But if we break it down, we've sailed on a few different lines. You think about Carnival, that's kind of an opening first-time cruiser type line. There's a sticker shock to that, right, at the end.
Yeah, we've seen a line of services when we're
again
on the worst day of the cruise getting off.
It's perception and affordability, and it's a surprise. And especially if it's your first time, and I think sometimes that can give people a negative experience. Think about Royal. Let's back it up to Royal. You're paying thousands for the big water slides and the premium experiences, and you're still seeing gratuities are itemized. Mm-hmm. And it's weird. I mean, like, if they want to try to be up there with some of the more luxury brands, then call it what it is, put it in the bundle, let people know ahead of time. And CL. Let's look at Free at Sea. Works with prepaid gratuities.
Free at Sea Plus.
Right. But that's where people feel played. Even if they technically aren't, there is an emotional component to it, and you can't get away from it.
I'm with you. I get it. I understand how people can feel that way. But disclosure does not necessarily ensue deception. Okay, I don't think the cruise lines are being deceptive about this. You know full well going in. Matter of fact, every time we book, it's one of the things I ask every single client. Do you want to include the gratuities in your cost?
I say no. Anyway, but I get where you're going with that, because disclosed, that protects the company. That protects that cruise line. Transparent protects the guest, their budget. They are not the same thing. Clarity matters.
Clarity does
And
matter.
it's more about just than disclosure. Yes, they can have it on there like, hey, they price per day, etc. Just tell us what it is up front.
I would say work with a fantastic travel agent that's going to help you navigate those things, because again, knowing to me is more important, and knowing what you're getting into before you get into it. Speaking of knowing what it is, I'm going to throw up our little QR code right now. This is for our cruise quiz. So if there's anybody out there that wants to know exactly which cruise line to sail on, this is a quick little cruise quiz. It's absolutely free, no cost to you. Go on, hit the QR code. It'll tell you on most of the major lines. It fits your style. It's absolutely free.
We know that, by the way.
It takes less than a minute to do. So would love for you guys to see that. And just saying, if you want help looking, we also have our website. So please take a moment, check us out, let us know what you think. Ask any questions you got in the chat. It's been pretty quiet there. I am glad I polled our audience before we got on. We're going to get to some questions in just a few minutes.
I just want to say one thing before we go to Q&A.
Okay.
If gratuities disappeared tomorrow and cruise fares went up the exact same amount because people are already experienced, no, that's part of their budget, I think it all going to be paid the same, and I don't think it'll be a debate as it is to this day.
So you don't think the 4.4 million people that are going to cruise in 2026 out of U.S. ports, you do not think if cruises jumped up, we're going to say on average, because it's two people in a room, 7 days, $280. So instead of paying $499 at your opening price point at Carnival, you do not think the amount of people cruising is going to go down if it's now $799 or $999?
I don't, because those that are experienced, and if they know the gratuities are included, they're already expecting to pay that price. It's already in for experienced cruisers. They already have budgeted or experienced that sticker shock. So they're going to be like, oh, okay. It's like, I don't have to worry about, look at, is it Virgin? I haven't sold Virgin, so that's all up there. I know they've changed a bit recently, and that's why I don't want to talk about those nuances there. But overall, most of it is a little bit more transparent. And some of the complaints you hear from MSC is that people are being nickel and dime because it is modularized.
MTL as well.
That's what I'm saying. If we look at some of those cruise lines versus some of the luxury ones where it's a bundled price, you don't hear it as much because it's clear cut up front.
Jen's siding with you. Thanks, Jen. Appreciate the backup on that one. I'm with you. I do. I think we can agree to a point on this. I do agree that the cruise lines aren't transparent with this. I do agree that there needs to be more clarity around. So, on that note, I appreciate Jen and the questions she brought up today. I am going to get to a few questions that I was able to pull on not only our Facebook audience, but also our YouTube audience. So hold on one second. Let's start with If a cruise line, this is a question from Joe from Facebook. If a cruise line rolled gratuities into the fare tomorrow, do you think bookings would drop? I think we answered this one already, but I'll turn it over to Kat. What do you think?
I don't think so. I don't think cruise gratuities are wrong. I think the way they're presented is outdated, and cruise lines need to get with the times.
My personal take on that is yes, I do think cruise line or the amount of bookings would drop. I don't know that it would be significant, but I do think the American culture is definitely based on value first before anything else. Okay, so this is from, I can't read the name. I'm sorry, another Facebook. Are luxury cruise lines doing it better by just including everything up front? Kat, what are your thoughts?
I say yes. It tells you everything. They're not automizing you, and they're telling you what the full price of it is up front.
I got to agree, not because of what Kat just said, but I think luxury cruise lines are actually the best value for cruising. When you look at the cost of an average Royal vacation, I'm going to use our Harmony trip. It was 5 figures for your birthday, and we could have went on Regent, Ritz-Carlton, and everything.
And with that said, we did the full dining experience. We did the drink package. We did the picture package. We did the Wi-Fi package. We did the drink package. So we did add everything on there. So, but to your point, it would have been probably approximately the same price, if not less expensive, to do it on a luxury brand.
And I know you like this idea. Way less people on that cruise ship, smaller, more intimate. We're actually going to do this next week again. Our debate next week is going to be a kind of interesting one. We're going to ask our audience to pick a side this week. I'm going to put a poll on our YouTube site and on Facebook. Are you team mega ship or are you team classic cruiser? And what's the difference? What's the difference between team mega ship and classic cruising?
Classic cruising, you can relax. Mega ship, you feel like you're in a city, a floating city.
We book all different types of cruises. We've done both mega ships and smaller ones, and now I've got Maggie over here on my other side. Can you try to say hi to YouTube there, kiddo, and Facebook? But yeah, that's going to be our next week. I hope everybody can join us for that. We're really looking forward to that because as much as gratuities is a hot button in our house, which ship we're going to sell on next, believe it or not, is an even bigger one. So back to our questions. Ooh, this one is a good one. What is the biggest cruise cost people forget to budget for?
Arriving. I think sometimes, are you talking the actual cruise or the actual trip? Because I think if they're coming from a distance, there's also the airfare, and our recommendation is always to be there a day beforehand. So I think sometimes that can get a little pricey if you wait too long.
I'm going to go out in left field here and say not getting travel insurance.
Oh, that could be. That's true, because we have had guests that ended up with almost 6-figure bills.
Yep. I actually was speaking with someone this morning that had a $4,000 cruise bill, and that was had to be paid almost immediately because they had to visit the medical facility, and it was a U.S. bound cruise. So I was really, really surprised by that. Guys, we're actually over time. Surprise, surprise. The 30 minutes goes really quick when Kat and I start to disagree.
So before we close out, I want to say cruising is probably one of the best vacations on the planet, right? The industry just needs to evolve. And so evolve their communication and their pricing structure as fast as they're doing their ships, because they're putting a lot of cool ships out there, right? That's going pretty fast and they're growing. If Gratuities is going to be part of the cruising price, own it and call it a service fee. Don't tuck it away.
Yeah, I've got to go. I'm going to finish it off here. I don't think it's confusing. I do think it rewards people who do understand what's going into it. And again, that's more than just that initial price. Being knowledgeable does not, knowledgeable of what the costs are going to be does not change anything in my mind with the gratuities. I'm always going to tip more. I'm always going to have pocket full of 1s and 5s for the people that I do an amazing job. And I know that having those gratuity charges on my room charge helps keep costs down.
But it doesn't.
And more people cruising.
It doesn't keep the cost down because it's still a cost. And so I'm saying the same thing, that the crews are fabulous. They should be guaranteed their wages. They should get bonused for great services. I think cruise lines, quit confusing your guests.
Not going to happen. Not going to happen. And from what I knew, we weren't going to solve this. I didn't think we were going to come up with the answers.
We're going to solve the world tonight.
Gratuities here tonight. This will definitely be a discussion for the next 4 hours.
No, we'll be asleep. We're old. But we're not Pinky in the brain. We're not going to solve everything. And people are always going to have differing opinions. But by the way, I'm the brain. You're Pinky.
I knew that's where you were going with that one. And anybody out there who knows the reference, throw it in the comments.
That shows our age. That's why we're going to be in bed in about 2 hours.
I hope you like tonight's show, guys. I really appreciate everyone coming out. Thanks for your questions. We will be dropping another video later this week. And next week, we are going to announce our next cruises. So please join us for that.
Are we not? The April cruise or the?
Yeah, April cruise.
Well, why don't you just tell it now? It's less than 6 weeks away.
6 weeks away. I want to build up, tension. Okay, fine. So we are sailing on Norwegian's Luna with a whole bunch of family members. I hope you're in the audience. And it is some of the people's first time cruising, which is always fun to be with first time cruisers. And we get to sail on Norwegian's brand new ship. Matter of fact, there's only 4 sailings before we got on. When we originally booked, it was 2, and Norwegian added 2 others, which I'm not necessarily happy about, but I understand. It's really hoping YouTube content on be one of the first ones for it, but turns out I waiting for this ship again. It's just not 9 minutes. And if you're familiar with the chit chat, you know exactly what I mean by that. And if not, go take a look. We hope you liked what you saw, and if you did, please take the time to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. It really helps us out, and we would love. Yeah, me too. The Eagle Show. Oh my goodness, I can't wait to see the Eagles.
And Elton John.
It's going to be absolutely amazing time. Maybe I should by the way, subscribe button.
The thumb's picking your nose.
I really appreciate everybody. Good. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, let us know how we did. Drop some comments on YouTube. Really appreciate your time. You guys have a wonderful evening. Another show's in the books. Another night talking ship, cruise chaos, bad decisions, good memories, and probably a few differing opinions. It's exactly how we like it. Seriously though, thanks for hanging out with us. Whether you're planning your next cruise, already counting down, or just escaping real life for a little while, we really appreciate you being here. That's what this community's about. Real people, real cruise talk, the stuff cruisers actually talk about after dinner, at the pool bar, or standing on a balcony. No polished travel ads, no fake hype, just the good, the bad, and the absolutely ridiculous side of cruising. And honestly, that's the fun of it. So wherever your next getaway takes you, we hope it's filled with good people, strong drinks, ocean breeze, late nights, and stories worth talking about long after you get home. Until next time, keep cruising smarter, not harder. Good night, everybody.